This is the June 21st, 2023 meeting of the New Canaan Police Commission. Welcome. Our first order of business is approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Any comments to the minutes?
None here.
Any question I have, Jennifer, did we not have an executive session last time? I don't remember.
I don't believe you did. I can double check.
Yeah, okay,
You did.
okay. All right. With that one caveat, I have no comments. Can I get a motion to approve? Second, all in favor, minutes are approved. All right, I should mention our third member, Paul Foley, is off on safari in Africa, so he's not able to join us right tonight. Yeah, yeah. Okay, with that, Chief, would you take us through our monthly reports?
Sure, I'll go through them somewhat quickly because we have a lot of people here tonight.
Mhm.
Sure, want to speak. First is our budget. We are on track. We're closing in on the end of the financial year. We've got a couple weeks left, so we're right at the next news for our budget. But we've been working closely with the finance department to cover all of our line items that we need to, but we're right on track where we need to be. And likewise with the animal control budgets as well. Staffing reports. You can see we're pretty close to where we've been consistently with other years. I did ask Jennifer to add on the bottom the notes for the special assignments for the community impact officer and our investigation section special assignment, because those officers are on special assignment, so they are affecting our shift staffing. So with the upcoming retirements, we're going to be hurting shift wise over the next couple of months until we can get caught up with new hires. And monthly statistics, I didn't see anything too far out of range on anything. I don't know if you had any questions on any.
The only one I notice is the suspicious person / vehicle report. On a year-to-date basis, we're up just under 50% from last year. Are you seeing, what are you seeing with
I
that?
think that just might mean better vigilance. People are noticing unusual cars in their neighborhood or that sort of thing. So that could be what's attributing to that.
Mhm.
The other notable was false alarms seem to be down significantly as well.
Yeah.
On a year to date from this year to last year. So that's a good sign. It's a good trend. Hopefully that will continue.
Okay.
And duty aging is on track. It looks to be reasonable. I don't think there's anything that's too far out of whack as far as beyond the 60 days. It's not too significant. And most of the contractors that are due are pretty reliable. Eversource and Burns Construction and AJ, they're pretty reliable contractors. That's it for reports.
Okay. All right. So next on our agenda is the road closure request for addiction awareness vigil. August 30th, 7 o'clock, the area formerly known as the Pop-Up Park. It would be from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. including setup and cleanup with a rain date of September 5th. Is someone here from the okay.
Paul Reinhardt, yeah. I'm the
Hey, Paul.
founder of Canaan Parent Support Group. It's hard to believe, but now it's the 7th year that we've been having the vigil, same location. And the location is going to be great. Have the little Dunkin' Donuts on the corner. Just even meet with one of the owners. They're going to have 450 customers that evening. That's our target. So
Great.
just doing the same visual that we find here.
Yep. And you've spoken to the town authorities about insurance and the other requisite approvals you need?
That's on my list, yeah, I talked to Tucker and take care of that, yes.
Okay. All right, any discussion?
I think generally we approve it pending.
Yeah,
Following through with.
right,
Tucker
we'd
and
approve it
this-
contingent on you getting those necessary approvals, insurance, et cetera. Okay, any discussion further?
No.
Okay, so I'd make a motion to approve the closure for this event as requested, subject to the need for the town and insurance approvals.
Wait a second.
Okay, Done.
Good.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna stick around because I'm a neighbor.
sure, you're welcome to stick around. Usually it's too boring for anyone to stick around. Okay, so then next is the Silver Mine Road traffic calming request that we received. Someone want to speak on that?
Sure. I'm Mark Dorsha. I'm a resident at 987 Silver Mine Road. I was going to put in the request to Captain Walsh, who was very helpful, and Chief Federico has been helpful as well in the past. 6 years ago, we were able to get the speed limit lowered from 30 to 25 miles an hour, which was, in some ways probably a moral victory, or but I think what we're really shooting for are more physical changes along the road to ensure the safety of our pedestrians, dogs, and as well as bikers. What we've tried to, or what, we would like to have the commission entertain is a number of changes. And what, for context, I think is important to understand is just the nature of that neighborhood. It's very different when you sit down and really look at the map of Buchanan. The only place that resembles Silver Mine is the downtown Buchanan area. We have commercial businesses, the market, Gray Barnes, Mercantile, which of course are around the corner in Norwalk, but all connected. The Silver Mine Art Guild, we've got down the road the Silver Mine Hospital. That's just in terms of commercial and nonprofit businesses. Then you've got recreational activities like the Valver Preserve, which has been established in the last few years, as well as the Silver Mine River. And so the nature of it is, what I would have characterized, and Paul Foley, who used to be a resident on Silver Mine would agree, is it used to be a country road. And we were here 6 years ago to try to sort of keep it that way. And instead, I think we're here to embrace, we live in an urban neighborhood effectively, but we don't have sidewalks, we don't have traffic lights. But there are other measures that I think would be, incredibly important to consider. The sidewalk issue was discussed at the last meeting, and 6 years have gone by, and I'll count myself as guilty as charged for not going to P and Z. That's clearly a step, but I think what we'd like to do is elicit the police commission's support on that, if that's the recommendation with regard to some version of sidewalks along the road. But what we found is that with speed at 25 miles an hour, it really doesn't matter if you're going 30, 35, 40, or 50, the danger still exists for pedestrians. The Connecticut Department of Transportation issued a report in January of 2021 stating that at 20 miles an hour, if a pedestrian is hit, the fatality is 1 in 10. At 30 miles an hour, a pedestrian, if they get hit, 5 in 10 survive. And at 40 miles an hour, only 1 in 10 survive. And so these are the conditions that we walk under every day, because every single day that goes by, there are cars that pass other cars on Silver Mine Road. There are cars that that drive exceedingly fast. They don't slow down for pedestrians walking. They might move over into the other lane, but that doesn't make it any safer for anybody because oftentimes there are pedestrians or bikers on the other side of the road. We know that it's all walks of life, like literally, I'm just amazed at the at how rude drivers on the road are. I just recently had a father in a Mercedes convertible with 2 kids who came blowing past me, and all I do is wave, tell him, yell him, to slow down. He up and flips me the bird. And that's, so that's the character that we're dealing with where people don't care. And so.
Well, they also don't obey the speed limit. And if we could reduce the speed limit to 10, whatever we reduce it to, nobody's going even close to 25 in that area. They're just not.
So just in terms of steps, we talked about this previously. I think it's warranted to consider stop signs at the intersection of Mill Road, as well as the intersection of Heather Road along Silvermine Road. And what you find when you drive that road, give an example of Heather Drive in particular, where you're coming from town on Silvermine Road, you're going down a big hill. When you get to that stop sign, cars automatically speed up, even if they would have to consciously put their brake on. No one does that. The car naturally speeds up. And so we know, and I've done plenty of research to know that stop signs in theory, in data, show that people can drive faster after the stop sign, and it sort of defeats the purpose. But I think what stop signs on Silvermine Road, how they should be evaluated is more context. What are the conditions that, in that case, the road is sloping down and cars are speeding up as they come into Heather Drive. And so it's speed as well as visibility. And what you've got is then a lack of visibility going from Heather Drive down to the Orr Guild and the market, where suddenly you've got a lot of pedestrian cross traffic. And so that's an example at Heather Drive where a stop sign would force people to stop. And you've got drivers coming on Heather Drive that don't have to now worry about, pulling out in front of the cars, especially also speeding from the Silvermine Market area. So that's one area. On Rilling Ridge, if you try to make a left-hand turn off of Rilling Ridge onto Silvermine Road, it's completely blind. And I passed around, flyers to all the folks on Rilling Ridge. I hope that, we can garner a lot of support from, those neighbors as well. But the fact of the matter is, if there was a stop sign at Mill Road, you'd at least have a chance to get people to slow down. So it's context where it's the first 100 to 150 feet where stop signs really matter. And that's statistically what, the reports that I've read have shown. And so you've got an opportunity to slow people down at critical junctures where there is a lack of visibility. So that's the stop sign issue. The next issue would be speed bumps. Other towns employ speed bumps. The town of New Canaan has on the website presents the sort of checklist of things to go into consider around speed bumps. We generally speaking don't have speed bumps in our town, whereas Darien, which whoever's a commuter is out trekking over to the train station now, lots and lots of roads have speed bumps, and these are normal normal roads. These are not these are not just like little parking areas or little areas that you might see a speed bump in a commercial parking lot. So speed bumps would be a way to slow things down. And I know one of the pushbacks previously was that Silvermine Road tends to be considered an emergency response road. And but factually, when you look at the town website again, the emergency response road is limited to Route 106, not to Silvermine Road. So Silvermine Road is not, at least, according to our website in the state of Connecticut, is not an emergency response road. 123, 106, Carter, those all are deemed, emergency response roads. So we shouldn't be prevented from having maybe speed bumps. And a lot of this may turn into a step towards the right direction, which is eventually sidewalks. But in the interim, I think we need to figure out physical obstacles. The last thing, besides policing, which, every time I call, the police are great. They come out and I see people get pulled over, but I literally could call 5 times a day. And I don't want to do that. And we've got neighbors that would be, if we put everybody on, the police on speed dial, and have everybody call 5 times a day, they could do that, but that's not constructive. And so what we want are more permanent, fixes as opposed to troubling the day-to-day team, because we have to condition drivers. And so lastly, speed monitors are an important way, and again, statistically been proven to lower speeding to bring traffic calming. And what we now noticed is at Valley Road, there are 2 permanent fixtures. And I don't know if that was the investment of the hospital or the town, but that's the type of measure. They're controlled by solar, and so they're not going anywhere. Wilton has the same thing as you drive to the town of Wilton. These are the types of things that actually do resonate and force drivers to change their behavior, because a speed limit is gone. So I'll pause there, and I've said a lot, thrown out a lot of stuff at you, but obviously, very passionate about the some of the goals here.
Okay, does anyone else like to speak? Yes, sir.
John Tropiano, 644 Silver Mine Road, so the 10. I do agree with all the suggestions Marcus made. Been there for about 21 years. Clearly, a lot more traffic now. I think the only thing I would add to consider, I draw this comparison to Valley Road as well. I know that by the hospital, they do have a 20-mile speed limit. I would suggest we consider that for the east end as the first get on Silver Mine. You go up to the running start, and you have on both sides, excuse me, you have the Silver Mine Market in Hartgill. I was just thinking, we started out 20 miles per hour, similar to this.
So just talk on
Yes.
that. Those are advisory signs. The yellow signs are advisory signs. They're not official speed limit signs. And I believe down at the Art Guild, there are 20-mile-an-hour advisory
Really?
signs. I'll double check.
They're not speed limit signs. I'm sorry, I don't know the difference.
Yeah, so if you see those yellow signs, they're
Oh,
technically not enforceable as a speed limit
okay.
sign. They are advisory
Okay,
signs.
I missed those. So
Yeah.
Is
So
it a limit sign telling you how fast you're
No,
going?
no, no, he's talking about something.
not the monitoring. I was talking about a speed limit.
Yeah, the little yellow speed limit signs that say 20 miles per hour. When they're yellow like that, those are just advisory signs. They're trying to encourage people to slow down, kind of give them advanced warning that it is a like the Silver Mine Market and the Art Guild. But I believe those signs were installed down there. We
Okay.
can double check. If not, we will reinstall
I
them.
did a drive-by a couple days ago just to familiarize myself, but as I said, I missed it because I did it a couple times, so.
There might, let me double check.
Or I may not, I may have been just looking for the white ones,
Yeah,
And by the way, at on Valley, it is a white speed limit, 20 miles per hour.
I don't believe so, but I'll double check.
If you don't mind driving.
Yeah,
because I
I'll
did it
check that.
yesterday.
Yeah,
And are the yellow ones also smaller?
yeah.
Because this was a full size.
Okay.
If you don't mind
Yeah,
driving.
yeah,
that
we'll
would
double
be
check
great.
that.
But I think
That'd be
it's
interesting.
warranted because you have things on both sides, both at the hospital.
The issue, like we talked about, though, is you can lower the speed limit down to 20 miles an hour. But people they haven't slowed down to the 25 miles an hour. If you look at the average speed, it stays, people are still treating it like a 30-mile-an-hour road. So that's not gonna fix anything.
Well, I think the only thing that will is occasional enforcement. Well, it's nothing like a ticket to get people's attention. Now, what percentage of the people are gonna get that? I know, but I know,
We do a lot of speed enforcement on Silver Mine over the years,
Uh,
and people are still treating it like a 30-mile-an-hour.
you certainly would know. Yeah, not speaking from the experience you folks had. That's one, an observation, the recent development that I asked to check out is, again, this was near my house. You had a stop sign before you go left onto 106. And we put out some construction signs. and the one that was put up is blocking the stop sign. And I don't know if this is contributing to it, but I have the impression that I'm hearing during morning rush hour, more horns being at the intersection.
So
Wondering-
where,
So if you were heading, I believe I have it right, is the Silver Mine Market the east end? My directions are right there. Okay, all right, so anyway, as you're going from, let's say, the market, all the way down to where you make a left onto 106, I happen to live right there.
okay,
There's a stop sign before you make the left, but it's very well blocked by the construction site. Now, right now, they have plastic bags.
so that's a stop sign at Silver Mine and Valley, basically.
That's one before that. So you hit one before you make a left onto 106. There's
Yeah.
a stop sign there.
Yeah.
And I believe it's fairly well blocked now.
All right, we'll check that out.
So you're right, there's a second sign. Once you go straight to Valley or right to 106, but there's a stop sign at the previous intersection, make a left onto 106. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. So,
Okay, is there
If
anyone
I
else?
may, just one other thing,
Yes.
this might not be a topic for this meeting, and I know if you're hearing or seeing this, but as we get onto 106, so if I make a left there and come near Carter, I'm having near misses once a week, people making the turn from Carter onto 106. I don't know if you're hearing or seeing the same thing, but
Yeah, they're,
for years, we've been arguing with the state for years to get some sort of resolution there, and we've gotten.
well,
No,
because it's a state route,
it's a
we just
state
had a
road.
meeting there with an engineer. They did another study and there's a project in process.
okay, that's good to hear, because there's gonna be
They need
accidents.
another level of state approval, but there was.
There's,
Yeah, they have.
yeah,
other
we've
projects.
never gotten any luck from the state because. Unfortunately, the state DOT only values accident data, and there hasn't been tremendous accident data there.
Well, it's my
Until
fault,
there
because I
is.
stepped on my brake twice in the last week, or I would've been-
Yeah, maybe you could get our numbers up for us. Yeah.
In my 30-year career here, that's the one place I got in an accident. Patrol car coming out of.
There you go.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
looking at, the town's looking at shifting the exit from Carter and moving it over. So that it's
Okay.
less.
Yeah, part of it is the curve there. It's hard to see if you're coming off.
My recommendation to the state was to, as you're coming in to town on Silver Mine, add a stop sign there.
Mhm.
That would solve the whole problem.
Yeah, that's,
If you had to come into town and you stop there, that would slow the flow of traffic and allow you to exit Carter Street
Right.
without going on open a prayer.
yeah, because my other near miss was actually someone just coming on 106 from the other direction. And it was a landscape truck, and he never looked, he just turned.
Yeah.
So it can happen from both ways. Thank you.
Okay, yes, sir.
Add something on 1012 Silver Mine.
What's your name?
AJ Conley, 1012 Silver Mine Road, I'm here with my wife. And just, I assume people in the room understand, and just picking up on Mark's introduction about the uniqueness of the neighborhood. This is not a residential, this is not a residence issue. This is a public safety issue. The number of people that walk in that area is remarkable. It is a circle that people do from Wilton, from Norwalk, from New Canaan. And it's not just the commercial aspects of the art guild, the market, the mercantile, and now the wildly popular gray barns. It has just become this sort of, I think during COVID, it's turned into this little routine. People come up from the Silver Mine Golf Club areas, they come down. Obviously, the people over in West Norwalk Road, which has by the way, has a grammar school right there. It's turned into this remarkable area. It's very vibrant, and Mark uses this as a town, but there's just really nothing like it in regards to the volume of foot traffic, the narrow of the road, the lack, the egregious lack of the sidewalk. And it's not a problem. It's just whatever reason that part of the community does not want sidewalks. Just wanted you guys to appreciate that level of activity. You often have people walking on either side of the road and waving to each other while cars are going at the same time. It's a very interesting bottleneck of, and it's an excellent one, by the way, it's just perfect. I just think it's juxtaposing with the danger at play here. It's just a recipe waiting to happen.
Okay. Mr. O'Day?
Tom O'Day, State Rep, I'm happy to work with you on that Carter Street. I did get a tip. You probably all know about this, but somebody told me when you're coming off Carter, making right on the 106, right where the bad area is. If you make the right and then you drive up about 10, 15 yards and stop. And then look around the corner and then make your left instead of just trying to go right across.
Well, that's how you have to do it.
That's how you have to do it.
That's how you have to.
Any other way you do it, you're
Yeah.
wrong advice. But
Yeah.
finally, somebody gave me the clue. Just stick.
But people that aren't familiar with the area don't know that. and
Right.
they-
Sure, yeah,
Exactly.
that's a great point.
Exactly.
The state just passed, and I did vote for it. I know there's some concerns about it, but it's automated traffic enforcement. So effective October of this year, I'll just read it so that everybody can understand what the law says. In response to recent rise in traffic deaths, the legislature passed a new law allowing municipalities to use speed and red light cameras. If they want to adopt an ordinance meeting the law's requirements, which I will send to the commission. And to have a speed and red light camera plan approved by DOT every 3 years. DOT must develop guidelines and evaluate criteria that ensure the cameras are installed only where they are likely to improve traffic safety and their distribution is equity. So you have to have a public hearing and whatnot about it. Now, I bring this up now because as someone who has traveled up and down the East Coast fairly regularly with my kids playing lacrosse, different municipalities have put in red light cameras and speed cameras, enforcement cameras. And Waze actually has it on your phone, so it pops up. So you automatically, even if the system's not working, if it's in here, people slow down. It's just a fact. So while I'm not necessarily advocating putting them all up throughout the Canaan, I do think it's an effective way of slowing down traffic. And particularly the way it's set up, you'd have to have a public hearing. Maybe I'm all wet on this, but I think if we had a public hearing, I think this crowd probably would support it, and I'll bet you a lot of others would too. You know, there aren't enough officers around to be doing all the traffic mitigation that needs to be done, unfortunately, but life, and I think this would be an effective way to try and address some of those concerns.
But it's also a good avenue, like Mark said, it's effective when we're there, but we can't be there 24/7. We can't be there all the time, you know, so when we do focus enforcement, it has the desired effect, but once we leave, it's.
In my understanding, you can set it up the first few times, you know, the mailing that you get, you ran, you know, when you're speeding or you ran the stop sign or whatever, can be warnings. When you first set them up. And then you can set it up, I think, my understanding and my questioning during the committee meeting was that you can set it up such that after the third warning, you start getting fined. But again, I'll send this around so you have it.
Like I said, that's brand new. That just
Voted
happened.
on it.
So up until that, we couldn't do the red light cameras or the speed cameras, so those weren't an option. for us.
This is effective October of 2023, so we've got time, we've got to put it in place, getting it approved by the DOT, so. And I've got some other traffic mitigation questions. I don't know if this is the time where I can certainly wait through business.
Thanks.
Okay, anyone else like to speak? Okay. So, I don't think we're in a position to make final decisions on these requests this evening. Chief, you're going to follow up on some of those.
Yeah, well, I think
Issues?
we can address some of them. And kind of give some idea of direction. And Deputy Chief Walsh can jump in at any time. Regarding stop signs. We'll reevaluate those intersections and see if those are suitable locations for new stop signs. Stop signs are not to be used for traffic calming because it just creates a more dangerous situation. If you put a stop sign where one's not expected or shouldn't be, people tend to go through it because it's just intuitively not where it should be. And therefore, if you're coming out of Heather Drive, for example, cars aren't predicting that there should be a stop sign there, they'll blow through it, and now you have a more dangerous situation. But we'll look and see if any of those intersections warranted. I don't think you brought up crosswalks.
We
That
talked
would be
about
in
that.
conjunction with the stop signs, in particular, like Mill Road, which is the entrance to the Fowler
Yeah.
Reserve, would be very, very logical.
Yeah.
And what you'll find when you do the stop sign study, both there and at Heather Drive, is that you're forced to come out onto the road if you're on those side streets. And so I agree completely with the concept, because again, I believe in statistics, that stop signs don't create lower speeds, but in these cases, I think what it's doing is it's creating a level playing field for pedestrians and for cars entering from side streets that will make it safe.
We should look at it strictly from cars entering from those roads. If it makes that safer and it's, like I said, if it's predictable for the cars on Silver Mine to adapt to it, then we should certainly look into it. But we can reevaluate those, but we do support crosswalks because it is like you said, it is heavily used by pedestrians, certainly at Mill Road. Because there's 2 crosswalks down by the Arco, or at least 2 or one or 2 down,
Yeah.
2 down at that end.
Yeah.
I'll pay for the paint on the. Again, the Connecticut report that I referenced features those types of measures that bring safety.
Speed bumps, again, we'll have to reevaluate, but we've been opposed to those for a number of reasons. They have advantages, they have disadvantages, obviously being in the Northeast, snow removal, wear and tear on vehicles, noise pollution, because now every UPS truck that comes by there is going to slow down and accelerate, every FedEx truck, every dump truck. So you're going to have a lot more noise pollution. So there's a lot of benefits, but there's a lot of cons to it as well. The solar speed sentries, the ones that we put up at Valley Road, we received on a state grant. But we are looking to get more of them. I do like the solar ones. We put some up on Old Stanford Road. We have a couple other locations that we're going to put them up. So if you're bored of those there, that would be a good location.
Yeah.
Would you?
It's very shady. That would be depending on whether.
Yeah, I was gonna- But we can cut down
Very
trees too.
shady
so,
area,
uh,
but they might not work. So we'd
You
have to
mean
look
putting
at
it right near the art hill?
Well, that's where we'd have to determine, obviously you would put it coming south,
Yeah, exactly.
would
Yeah,
be
you
the
want
prime
to
one.
catch people on their full speed.
Yeah, I'm not sure putting one northbound would be as effective, but we would at least put one going south, entering, from Valley Road towards the art field would be, I think, most effective. The other thing that they did up at Silver Hill on Valley was shoulder striping. That gives the visual effect that it's more narrow road and it slows people down, which I think is partly what you're battling on your section of Silver Mine. It is wide in some areas and straight, relatively straight. So it gives the impression that it's, to a driver, that it's easier to drive. In fact, you can drive faster. So if we can look at putting some shoulder striping, I know we had much debate 6 years ago about putting double yellow lines versus, but we're abandoning that. We're right. All right. So we can look at doing that to just give a visual cue to drivers to slow down. And that's it. So we'll look into those items, but I think those are some action items that we can take that are pretty simple and pretty quick as far as crosswalks, shoulder striping, speed sentries. We're going to look into purchasing some more of those, and we can certainly put you guys high on the priority list for some of those solar speed sentries.
long term, I think we do support sidewalk now.
Yeah, 100%. I think that would be great.
That's
I-
the safest thing for pedestrians, society.
Yep.
And I think that would, not that we should be, but I think that would increase property values, just having a
Without question.
neighborhood to walk.
Yeah.
And, I think it would just enhance the neighborhood.
That's exactly right. AJ described it, best. I mean,
Yeah, we totally get that. We see that it's a neighborhood
Yeah.
that really promotes, a nice, pleasant walk, and it is a great community, and we recognize that. So,
Done that with myself.
and it's, that's the Mill Road and all that. So, we would definitely support that, and we can reach out to Public Works and see if we can push that forward.
Okay.
Is there any state funding for sidewalk?
There is, but believe it or not, remember Main Street sidewalks, there were a lot of people opposed to it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
375,000.
Yeah, because, so everybody along that road's gonna give up at least 10 feet of their frontage, so.
Yeah, yeah, understood, but every single one of those people that objected are ecstatic about having it now.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
A question, sorry, it's AJ Conley again, 1012. Is there any advantage to cooperation with Norwalk and Wilton Police in any of these regards? Because the border is right at
Yeah.
Silver Line Road.
Yeah.
And I don't know where your jurisdiction ends, and I'm wondering if there's.
It's right at that
1 + 1
intersection.
+ 1 = 5 somehow.
Yeah, we can certainly, we have a good relationship with Norwalk. We can reach out to them, see if they have any concerns feeding into those roads. I'm not sure that they do. I'm sure that's probably low on the priority list for Norwalk Police Department, is that area, but who knows? But the other thing that we need to be considerate of over the next several months at least is I believe in Norwalk, the Comstock Bridge is closed, so there's detour traffic from that, but also our detour traffic from the 106 water main is going to affect traffics. I don't know if it'll affect it positively or negatively for Silver Line. I don't know if people are going to avoid the area or if they're going to go up valley because Route 106 is going to be closed for several months at least. So-
From which section to which?
well, right now it's from Carter Street to
East School.
East School.
Especially with seeing something. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Clover.
Clapper Hill, yeah.
Thank you.
So right now they're working in that section, but they're gonna move towards Valley eventually over the summer at some point. Depends how long it takes. And so that will affect traffic because there's gonna be some significant detours going on. I don't know if people will go down Silver Mine because then once they go down there, they're gonna get affected by the Comstock Hill. So hopefully they'll avoid the whole area in general. And you'll have no traffic this summer. So, but I think, where you saw things, where you're seeing things increases, I think everything's getting back to normal post-COVID. And we're seeing that on the Merritt Parkway, we're seeing that on all of our roads parallel to the Merritt Parkway in the morning. Gertie's Road, Nursery Road, Talmadge Hill, Old Stanford Road. So all of those traffic concerns that were prior to COVID are rearing their ugly head again. So I think that's why you're all back there again.
Yeah, I think the biggest support I have is sidewalks long term.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we
Thank
can,
you so much.
put this on next month's agenda and kind of do an update
Great,
perhaps. Would that be-
good. You'll have time to,
We'll
all the
at least
checking.
have some sort of update.
Good.
I don't know if we'll be able to take action on any of these, but we can at least
okay,
look into
great.
some of them.
Thank you very much for hearing us out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for our local representative for making some.
Yes.
Thanks again. A lot of success in the past.
Yeah, they're here about the seventh year.
Get a new business.
Oh, Dave has a few more questions.
Who's it?
Oh, yeah, it's my phone.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure what he was talking about. Let's see. We'll ask what he's gonna say.
Where's he at? Great, okay. So, what we're doing.
Thank you, Tom. Did you have some other things you wanted to address?
So I did see a couple of things. One, I saw on the Friday agenda is the renovation.
Yes.
Yes,
So no promises, but after talking to the governor, speaker, majority leader, I'm confident we're gonna get some money. I asked for 5 million for the new station. We're not gonna get the 5 million. The governor, speaker actually put me on speakerphone with the governor and said that this is not being recorded.
Yes, it is.
yes.
Well, he basically said to the governor, I've got a good friend of mine, Tom O'Day, who helps run the floor and has been extremely helpful. And we need to do need to help out in Canaan, get some funding for the new police station. The governor said, what, the wealthiest town in Connecticut needs money? And he laughed. I said, well, governor, we're not, the wealth is, and two, we sent up $2.5 billion in tax revenues since I've been a state rep. And all I've gotten back is $200,000 for an outdoor rink last year. So, you know, I think we're overdue for some.
Yeah, we're due. Yeah.
Great.
So,
Great news.
I don't, we're gonna find out more within the next week. That's the amount, somewhere between 1 and probably 2, maybe 3, I'm hoping.
Great.
And then the Playhouse, we also asked for some money. It's not related to this, but I'm hopeful with that. And the Carriage Barn got $167,000 today, so get some money. So anyway, so I just wanted to point out that.
Great.
Fingers crossed on that.
Great.
And I don't know if you wanted me to bring up under new business. I just had some questions about left turns. Want me to wait? I can certainly wait till after.
Questions on what?
Left turns,
On left
a couple of
turns.
left turns, one at Farm and 106, the high school.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That intersection, I know the state's involved, but I don't know where you have on priority list. During school, that's a horrible left-hand turn from 106, and it delays everything back up 106.
So from 106 onto Farm.
Yes, so
Yeah.
basically heading down towards the Merritt,
Yeah.
if you're on 106 and right at the intersection with Farm where the high school is, that left turn Waveney.
Yeah.
That's a horrible left turn. That's a horrible backup for cars. If we can get a left turn lane in there, I saw there was a lot of work being done. That was when Peter Cooley called me about a year ago to go over this. And so I went through the intersection. So that was one.
That's the state road, though, so that
That's
has
state
to.
road. I know. I'm gonna talk to the state again on that.
Yeah,
I
DOT's
just want to
road.
put it on your boat radar.
Yeah, I think we've kind of looked at that and we would support that.
Sure.
But it requires widening 106.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the roads that I've been complaining about, because I take that to go to work
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I see kids walking
yeah.
and it's really dangerous.
it is. And we put in the sidewalks over there with the walk sign and we really should have a left turn, but I'll talk to the
Yeah.
state too. I just want to put you on aware of that. North on 106 at Jello, so right by the Merritt, going north on 106, the Jello Mill intersection there, again, a state road, but I wanted to let you know, I'm reaching out to the state to put a left turn there, because that backs up.
Mm.
And people, a crosswalk at Ona Bridge at the Roger Sherman Inn.
That was approved, I think,
It
years
was
ago.
approved.
I know, can you circle back with me and Tiger on
Yes.
that? Because I believe that was approved years ago.
Will do. The other state road that I've got to bring everybody, so exit 38. If you look at 123, I live right off Holly, so if I'm going north, I'll take a right off of Old Norwalk onto 123. And the light there at the Merritt, turning left onto Carter. A lot of times there'll be cars going left onto Carter and then lining them back up. And then cars will jut out to go straight.
Yeah.
And then cars are also flying to go right onto the Merritt.
Yeah.
And that's an accident waiting to happen. I don't know who it is.
We do get accidents there.
Yeah, so.
That's actually in Norwalk, though.
Norwalk, but
That
we
that
get
is from the border, so that is
Yes,
normal.
that is
Yeah,
normal.
Pena, where Pena is there. All right, so
Yeah.
I will reach out to the state and the Norwalk and Lucy Davis
Yeah.
for that. And then lastly, I'm sorry, I just wanted to. 123 and 106, again, the state where East School, the turning lane going left on a 106, same situation. If you're coming 123, same direction towards the Merritt from New York. That left turn onto 106, there are cars backing up, traffic going left there, and then cars are pulling out to go straight. And cars are going down to go right at that intersection. So that same intersection at the Merritt and then at 106 is the same problem, but it's the same. So I'll
But again, I mean, that road is wide enough where they could probably splice up those lanes enough to fix that without doing probably any construction.
So I will circle back to the DOT and copy, should I copy one particular person on that?
Just me or Andrew.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then the crosswalk, I'll do also the crosswalk at the Roger Sherman. And thank you all for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Okay. Next order of business is the building renovation and training facility update. Do we have any update on
I
that?
don't really have anything new to
No.
update. Do we? I don't think
I
anything
canceled the
new
meeting
is.
this morning. There was,
Or-
no new business.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did present to town council last week.
Mhm.
Bill Walber gave his address to them. There's full support. We're on track with everything, but he gave town council an update, but other than that, I think everything's going on as planned.
Okay,
And that would be great if we did get some money from the state. Certainly for the training facility, because I think that has been sort of put on a back burner by the building committee at least. We do have some work to do for that to find an actual location for it, but if we ever do, we're gonna need some funding for that, so that's nice to hear.
okay. Letters of appreciation.
Let's see, first one I have is from our New Canaan Community Emergency Response Team, Stuart Salvini, regarding some of our folks, assistants at the Mayfair. There was Mayfair this year was great weather and heavily attended. And our officers, along with the CERT team, did a tremendous job in getting everybody in and out of there safely, specifically Lieutenant Mark DeFelice, Officer Giancarlo Vincenzi, and Officer Lisa Luveris did some outstanding work there on Mayfair.
Great.
Next, from the town of Newtown Police Department, Officer Abondo assisted with some canine sniffing that they had at their local school. Good job there. Next, we received a letter of appreciation from the Civilian Police Academy, which was operated mostly coordinated and run by Officer Coughlin and Officer Cece. So this woman was a participant and very happy to report that it was very well and very rewarding experience. And finally, oh no, there's a couple more. Next one was from Officer Coughlin, who coordinated our law enforcement torch run a few weeks ago on June 2nd. I don't know if you saw that, but this was the first time in at least 20 years that the torch run actually came through New Canaan. Typically, in the last 20 years, we would go down and send our contingent of officers down to Darien,
Right.
and run it on the Post Road. But because of Kelly's efforts to raise money through events such as Tippecop and showing great support for the Special Olympics, the organizers agreed to run a segment through New Canaan, which was fantastic. And there was many officers that assisted in that and participated in that. So that was a great event.
Excellent.
And finally, it looks like Officers Pollock, Marzano, and Ogrins assisted someone with getting their son out of a knotted seatbelt. I'm not sure what exactly occurred there, but the woman was very appreciative of the officers' help that day. That's it.
Okay, thank you. All right. We had our award ceremony last night, which was terrific.
Yes, thank you both for attending. It was great
Of
to have you
course.
there.
And we had Officer Owen Oakes, who got the Stephen Wood Officer of the Year Award, which is great.
Yep.
And is there any other business? Do we have anything for executive session?
I do have one thing.
Okay. So let's move to go into executive session. Moved, seconded, approved. We're going to executive session at 6:50. Okay, so we are out of executive session, and the commission has approved the promotion of Officer Galeno to Sergeant effective July 5th, pending the retirement of Sergeant Romano.
Excellent.
Okay. Any other business? A motion to adjourn. So move.
Aye.
Adjourn. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.